Years ago, I used to struggle head up, even in position, versus loose or very loose players with the marginal or ambiguous part of my range. Adjustment to my thinking was needed. I'd often c-bet the flop, check back the turn unimproved, but then get bet off my hand on the river. It was frustrating knowing how many hands they played, yet they won so many pots. It felt like I was lighting money on fire trying to bluff them. But what I didn't realize is that what would be considered a bluff or a semi-bluff versus a tight or a GTO player is actually often a value bet versus a loose or a very loose player. Then at some point I realized I just needed to get more of my range to showdown versus these loose or very loose players. The first thing to do was I had to remove the obvious. I already knew what to do on flops where I was clearly ahead or when I had completely whiffed. In this hand, U2 and the bingo fold, and I raise ace of spades, 5 of spades, 2x in the hijack. The big blind, who'd been playing a lot of hands, calls. The flop comes 9 of diamonds, 4 of clubs, 10 of clubs, and villain checks to me. Here it's better to just give up because I don't even have ace jack high or a backdoor flush draw. C-betting ace high with a low kicker and nothing else isn't good because loose players love to play any ace and peel flops. So checking back here is the most profitable play. Second thing I realized is that since my ISO or GTO range is far ahead of a loose player's limp call or defend range, that if it's checked to me, I should usually c-bet any pair, any good draw, any 2 overcards with clean suits, any good backdoor draw, or any ace 10 plus or higher. The other thing is that I want to find out as soon as possible how spicy villain is. So usually c-betting the flop small makes sense. This hand, U2 through the button fold, and the small blind, who'd been playing a lot of hands, limps. I have 6 of spades, 6 of diamonds in the big blind, and I ISO to 5 big blinds. And the small blind calls. Villain checks to me on king of spades, 3 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds. And I c-bet 1/3 because 1, I have a pair, and 2, I want to see how villain reacts to small c-bets. And villain calls. The next thing is that I needed to keep betting the turn when I had almost anything. I had to realize that I was usually betting for value even when all I had was a draw. Players will peel the flop with almost anything, and they'll call again on the turn with just a gut shot. One, I often still have the best hand. 2, I may improve, can value bet the river. 3, villain might fold. 4, it often will get me to showdown. And 5, a good bluff card might come on the river. Same hand, it came another king on the turn, and villain checked to me again, so I bet 75% pot. And villain folds. So mission was accomplished. Here's another example of this. Under the gun 1 folds, an extremely loose player limps in U2, bingo and hijack fold, and I ISO 4.5 big blinds in the cutoff with ace of spades, 10 of diamonds. Button and small blind fold. A loose passive player in the big blind calls, and limper in U2 folds. The flop comes king of hearts, king of spades, deuce of hearts. Big blind checks, and I see bet 25% pot, and big blind calls. The turn brings the 9 of spades. Again, big blind checks, and I decide to just bet small again. Big blind calls. The river brings the queen of clubs, and big blind checks. Here I decide to check also because the straight gets there and I'm ahead of virtually every whiffed flush draw. With this previous hand in mind, we shouldn't be surprised to win a lot of showdowns, betting the flop and the turn head up in position versus a very loose player with Jack of diamonds, 10 of diamonds on Queen of diamonds, 9, 6 rainbow, 4 of diamonds, deuce. Because we were ahead of Jack 8, 10 8, 10 7, 8 7, 8 5, and 7 5, suited or unsuited, the whole time. When villain is playing almost every hand, these concepts can go to the extreme. Betting pocket deuces, 2 streets for value, and taking a free showdown might just be optimal strategy. Summary, when hero starts off way ahead of villain, there's a reward waiting at showdown for a lot of hands that miss, but still feel too strong to give up on. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, like and subscribe. And until next time, good luck at the tables.